Aloha, Nityanandam. Good evening. I'm going to start with the communion prayer. You are welcome to say the prayer of your tradition. For me personally, I prefer silence. Thank you so much for being here. So now I am in the process of switching gears for doing all the things that I've done thus far, right? Next thing, next level, next whatnot, whatever's happening is happening. And so calling this podcast, or the beginnings, humble beginnings of my podcast, learning this technology and such. And I appreciate those who are supportive and along with me on this journey. So the melting pot, doing investigative, diplomatic, mediator, liberator in the global neighborhood. The melting pot is of subjective truths, and that's where the rubber meets the road, if you will, of the reality and then the collective reality. And so for me, because it's all subjective truths, I don't take sides. I am for a global peace treaty, which is actual and factual humanitarian law, and global bureau of conveyance for family-centric, consciousness-based societies. The contribution to humanity that I have been doing since 2018 is and advocating mothers to initiate third eye and Kundalini through umbilical cord initiation. This message is to share with all of humanity, entrusted by Cosmos as a divine mother on behalf of all divine mothers, so all live powers from day one with no discrimination. Absolutely none. And mother and father are first guru. Actually, so due to the elitists or supremists, or the word that I'm learning now is Zionists, hierarchy. Elitist supremacist hierarchy mental setup is Zionism, which are bank strategies executed through all religions to enslave the masses, which is you. So, from the Hindu perspective, I grew up Buddhist. Exhausting my Buddhist studying, I saw that it pointed to Hinduism. This is where I am saying that those who are Buddhists that do not acknowledge the source is Hinduism, that's like saying your mom is not your mom, right? And if so, don't stop with the intellectual theft. Hinduism, temples are universities and embassies, and because they are open source through thousands of years, if you're not ready and mature enough to say, yes, the source is Hinduism, stop the intellectual theft. If you're using Hindu words and Hindu translations or meanings, or even plagiarizing, right? Just don't. I grew up Buddhist. I acknowledge fully that Buddhism's source is Hinduism. I grew up in SGI. The Gohonzon, or object of worship, is a written version of what one can see as the Hindu temples sculptured. Essentially, that's what it is. And so to romanticize it with these concepts or whatnot, instead of being very straight, yeah, please don't. Yeah. So because of these banking strategies that have been in place for thousands of years, when you go and dig through the legalities all the way to the end, right? It starts off, the argument starts off with who wrote first, and then who made the first law book, right? All it is words written on paper that are words with guns, right? Essentially, laws are. So, in that, when you travel through history, you're traveling through history, somehow the bankers got into and inserted a looking glass mirror, if you will, of a agenda pushing narrative, a supremacist narrative, preying upon people's ego to enslave them as well, right? And both sides are getting enslaved. And so in that, creating division of supremacy, including in religion, right? So religion from the Hindu perspective is a one dharma, meaning dharma, right? People talking about dharma. That's where the duality is. And it's not even duality, it's multiplicity. By creating those divisions, right? And technically those one dharmas are like one families in the global neighborhood, which becomes, if you're looking at it, it becomes a preference, right? We can't live everything all at once, so that would be technically some kind of spiritual intimacy, right? But we need to go at the fundamental universal level of spiritual connection. That spiritual connection is understanding and accepting all inclusively without opinion, right? No opinion. Don't take sides. And I firmly am operating from that space. I am not budging, right? Because then it goes into the one dharma, and I can't do that. For me personally, I'm an Advaiti. And so there's nothing wrong with it. It just becomes a comfort zone and a preference, right? Essentially. But to infringe on anyone else's right to exist, because doesn't matter who you call upon as God, whoever you called upon gave you life today. We all equally in the cosmos exist. Shit and diamonds have no opinion to the cosmos. Absolutely none, because it exists. So again, it's these elitist, supremacist, hierarchical mental setup. That mental setup is the dis-ease globally. And from what I can gather, I'm sure there are different words for those in the different religions, but right now, because I didn't know anything about Zionism and the way that Dr. Shiva has been explaining on that Zionism, that's the connection. But I'm sure I will find other terminology about this. And so that's basically why I was like, what am I sniffing down? I don't like this, because it's not just what I'm sniffing down in research is interacting with other people, right? Other people have either have abused mental setup because they've been abused by the supremists or the narcissists. It really becomes the narcissism. That's where I'm like hunting all of that down. But those who have those mental setups are imposing all of this suffering, not just to animals and livestock, where they do planned genocide of, that's what livestock is, but also for humans. And so, hold on one second. If you can, thank you for your patience. And race, right? Hierarchical, ego-based ideas are beyond race or anything. It's a mental setup. It's a thought pattern. It's how someone thinks. So before we move forward, I'm wanting to set aside a moment of silence and prayer for the Congolese man who set himself on fire protesting genocide. If you use tech, any tech, it is blood tech, because the slavery of young as young as 4 years old are forced to mine raw material for tech, decades-long enslavement. Now that's a nice way of putting, no, these women are being raped, forced to have kids, because what community in their right mind would allow their 4-year-olds to be enslaved to go mine raw material for tech companies? That's a nice way of saying it. So you got all these people with all of their ideas, right? And who do they depend upon to perpetuate their stuff? Women. Because we're the only ones who give birth to children. What are we perpetuating? What are we allowing to perpetuate? Becomes a very legitimate question, right? I'm very deep gratitude for the suffering and sacrifices imposed upon people, because some people, as brilliant as they are, I don't even know what the words are, right? Very supportive of brilliant people who are contributing to society or humanity, but at what cost? At what cost? Right? When things can be done right, doing things right.
A Congolese man set himself on fire to bring attention to the ongoing genocide and exploitation that is happening to his people in the DRC. The video is circulating all over Twitter, and now it has made its way to TikTok right now. And people are outraged. And I actually searched up the whole situation to see if there's articles on it. And no BBC or CNN or Washington Post, none of these big publications covered it, because they want to hide what they are doing in the DRC. So the man literally set himself on fire. Like, I don't even know how he can have that kind of courage, but just to like bring attention to what's happening to the people of Congo. Like, they're being exploited. Millions of people, children at the age of 4, are mining cobalt and coltan and all kinds of stuff for the tech companies and all kinds of stuff. Okay? And I don't know if you guys care, because they're gonna lose profits if the world wakes up to support the Congolese people and also the Sudanese people and all the other exploitation and genocides in Africa. So please share this video outside of TikTok. Let's talk about this. The Congolese people desperately need us.
So yeah, it's a very, we need to really reflect on what are we doing, right? What are we doing? What are we perpetuating? What are you, because when you buy stuff, you are voting. You are voting with your dollars. What are you buying? It's better to buy from small businesses, farms, local farms. It's best to grow your own food, ideally. But yeah, and because of the supremacists, we're talking about the British colonists, not just British, we're talking about France, right? It's a mental setup. And basically, it's all just grandpas fighting over whose family story is better and more legitimate, right? Imagine monkeys fighting over whose crayon scribbles is nicer. Really? That's how I look at it. It's very boring. It's very boring, right? My question is founded on what? Violence, posturing, threatening, imposed ignorance, theft, torture, caging, kidnap, rape, prostitution, science, experimenting, torture, murder, and genocide. It's what it is perpetuating. And then how does that really matter? Only to the guy waving around his crayon scribbles on the other side of the rock wall, right? That crazy neighbor going off about something, probably strung out on some kind of substance or whatever. And literally, it's crazy neighbor suffering from narcissism. That's the source of it. So for me, I advocate to heal anxiety and depression by doing your DNA genealogy, and your spiritual genealogy. It's the most delicious, beautiful adventure into celebrating your life. Because you get to learn about food, dance, music, medicine, and spirituality, which is in your DNA, your culture. Right? Regain what was stolen or hidden from you from the colonizers. Right? Go roots. Dig deep. Dig really deep. Because when you do, you're going to find out exactly what is in your DNA. Right? You're going to find out what is in your DNA. Is your DNA riddled with, right? Hate, fear, greed, division, grabbing, possessiveness, hierarchy, lying, theft, poisoning others, torture, rape, murder, genocide, stagnation? What's in your DNA, right? Whatever you're perceiving, question the very you that's in there. What is in there, right? And in my seeking, I have found that the colonizers treat treaties as a bait and switch strategy. That's all that it is. It's a bait and switch strategy, and that's a mental setup. That's a narcissistic mental setup. That's where it's coming from. Treaties are contracts. You are consciousness. You are here paying rent to who, right? So there's religion that's in a box. The other box is spirituality, right? No, you are consciousness. By making that ambiguous, people are exploiting you straight up. All of that is on banks, money, contracts, treaties, right? Hierarchical, elitist, supremacist, Zionist mental setups. Those are mental setups. Why do you do what you do? Now, I get it. I get it. Not everybody has the wherewithal to do what I made the choice to do, given the situationship that or cards, if you will, that I was dealt. And being mature about that situation and somehow figuring it out. Yeah, I know. I do the unicorn Santa hat action or making all this, that funny stuff, because if it ain't funny, cheek and belly aching funny, it ain't worth it, right? That in itself sifts out a lot of people for me to not have to deal with. For freaking real, straight up, transparent right now, right? So never worry about who will be offended when you speak the truth. Worry about who will be misled, deceived, and destroyed if you don't. And we're really right up against the time where we gotta flip this script. Those who are here to flip the script know what they're gonna be doing, right? You just be yourself. The world will adjust. So there's a lot of people saying all kinds of things, and I'm really sick and tired of people saying bullshit, bullshit, my line, preying upon people who they hope are ignorant and not willing to go and research the shit themselves. Now I get it. It's better to say and point and give links, right? Links so that your credibility will be trusted. Now this is where it gets interesting, because I do a lot of link collections, and just like the FDA, right? The FDA changes their definitions or changes the word from GMO to bioengineered. They always move around their links also, or whatever, because they're full of shit, selling shit. So I get it. Even it's like hunting moving targets. Gets very interesting. So always do your own research, fact check, and trust yourself, right? For me, I accept what people say, but I will always go and look and research it for myself. And then what you end up finding out, because for me, I analyze things from the lens of spirituality, which is subjective truths. When you look from that lens and you look at someone and how they understand the words that are happening, and how their life is constructed based off of their words and how they perceive words, which also extend into law. So I want to share this video here.
Right. This is one of my favourite sentences of all time. Let me tell you why. Every time you say it, if you emphasise a different word, it changes the meaning of the sentence. I didn't say we should kill him. 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 It's really fun. Give it a go.
I'm looking for a better word salad than that, but it seems that's the only one that I've found thus far. We'll see what Cosmos blesses me with to share to expand that perspective, right? Why I'm saying subjective truth is when someone's talking, you can't call them a liar. You need to go in to look as to why they view what they're saying as the truth from their perspective, right? Their reality. Just like my reality, the things that I'm saying and requesting of the cosmos is not far-fetched from becoming a reality. It's not impossible. I'm possible. So there's a lot of things that people but that's fine. And my vibe tribe is my vibe tribe. Still yet to find that actual fundamental basics. Check, because it's not all check. But we're unique. I'm not complaining, right? I enjoy everyone and respect everyone's subjective truth inclusively, no matter what kind of burn I gotta walk through or whatever. I know on this planet Earth, right, to the extent of inclusivity and honor and respect participatingly into people's subjective truths, even at the risk of being misunderstood, right? Because I have my context and intention. So for me, I am living the full dynamic of my rights to start my own family, lineage, sampradaya, vibe tribe, religion, if you will. I don't even want to call it that, because it's just pure consciousness, and of self-governed families expressing their own liberated consciousness, ensuring up-to-date DNA expressions spiritually, economically, and politically. So all of these are what makes me my spinal cord, if you will, that the Kundalini runs up and down. That's what this is. But the word salad I'm choosing to call what I'm doing is secular Hindu quantum catalyst fusionist, because essentially that's what it is, being a mother, right? When you have kids, you are in that quantum space, being a catalyst to hold that new life, and feminine Advaiti, right? All inclusive, all those ones, yes, that you can call upon that name as God, you can go believe in that, but you do not have the right to infringe upon another person's right to exist. As well as for why secular. True secularism is taking the essence of all religions and using it, living it, experiences. The pseudo-secularism is discarding all great truths of all the religions and living your own materialistic culture. So that's where I think the Zionists or the Supremists or whatnot have also infiltrated those thought currents, right? Because it's about thought currents. So yeah. To the cosmos, shit in diamonds is the same, because it created, thus it exists. That's fact and truth. So on the foundation, the center cord is mothers to initiate third eye and Kundalini through umbilical cord initiation. Mother and father is the first guru. The cord in which I test others is empower with independence. Independent of self is true mother worship. The female form is the walking temple of life, more sacred and holy. Not the UN, not no one, not no group, because time is life, and when we exchange that 1 hour for 1 hour exchanges only, all of this hierarchical by pay will be removed. It becomes, like for me, I don't contract. It either is or it isn't. If it is, it's going to be there with or without a contract. It's going to get done with or without a contract. Right? All mothers are global leaders. Why? Because through the female form, beings like Buddha, Krishna, Jesus, or Hitler comes through. Even a Swamiji, Bhagavan Nityananda Paramashivan, took body through a female form. The 460 powers of Mahadeva are real. Hinduism is real. Right? I advocate for homeschooling. Only Cosmos, Paramashiva, God granted and blessed me life today. Whoever you call upon, granted and blessed you life today also. I'm advocating for a Moksha Peace Treaty, which is self-governed sovereignty, personal liberation. Right? If some crazy WHO, World Health Organization, can go and fly around there crazy of some pandemic treaty, right, confirming my conclusion that global peace treaty is actual factual humanitarian law, and nobody else is saying on this planet Earth, and I really don't care who's gonna grab what I'm saying to spread it. It needs to get spread. Everybody's too busy with some kind of ego, whatever, who's going to be, what is that? Get credit for what? No. It just needs to get done. And whoever's here, landed and took body, are the ones who are going to change it and get it done. Right? It needs to be said, it needs to be said, and it needs to be said. Not just said, but figuring it out, right? Even for me, I don't know how I'm going to get to the UN and then just give them the what for. I don't know how. But I pray every day somehow, right? Grab the trishul and beat them with the trishul of truth that no. All y'all don't grant nobody no rights of nothing, especially no woman who has had kids. Enough of this posturing to disempower parents and mothers to have them give up their children so you can grab babies, however way you going to human traffic them, whether it's in slavery or education purposes, posture and sell some crap that mimics what they would be learning at home. Let's look at it from that perspective. Why is it all set up that way? Because of the corporations, industrial revolution, or whatever they want to justify it. It's 2023. There's the internet. The COVID pandemic proved that homeschool for everybody is possible. We should start rearranging our life to be more family-centric. Family-centric, right? So how do we make this a global norm again? Now, how did it get to this point? I'm still, and it's probably the group dynamic phenomenon or whatever. I don't know. That's one of the things I'm in deep meditation and asking Cosmos on. How did it, right? So again, you are here paying rent to who? Legit question. I'm also advocating to redefine slavery. Built-in constructs of slavery is when landlords exist, slavery exists. No masters, no slaves. Why does slavery exist? Why you, like, if you live in Hawaii, why you gotta come up with, anywhere from $1,500 to $2,500 a month before you can even think about eating, to pay for some place you're not at, to store your shit? Right? You might as well just get one storage unit and then sleep in your car. What is going on? Right? That's slavery. And then you got all this, because why? Slavery by slumlords. For serious. If our refrigerators are just one cube and no more this fancy, all of them, we living with slumlords. Right? Perpetuating BS like lucky you live Hawaii. No. check this out, right?
You know, if every Hawaiian knew what it means to be an advocate for the Hawaiian kingdom, it means access to land for every Hawaiian upon hitting the age of 21. When you hit the age of 21, you could go down to the Ministry of Interior and get a plot of land on which to build a house and grow food. Thousands of us Hawaiians, from the 1850s all the way through till 1893, where it ends, accessed what are called our native tenant rights and got plots of land for themselves or their family. It's very different than the land system we're in right now, where you got to scrap for money to try to get a down payment. That's the American system of land, right? One person in your family dies, everybody's fighting for that one house. You don't have to fight for that one house, you go get your own plot of land, right? That's the Hawaiian system.
And it's not an American system, it's a colonizer system, which is the source from where Europe, Britain, right? So, and it's a narcissistic system. What are we perpetuating? Right? Even with blood title. So, for me, in that seeking of hunting down all of this stuff, right? Legal things, and sitting and listening to all kinds of dialects of legalities. Dialects meaning each lawyer or each person practicing law has their own dialect, and that dialect is based off of what they read and understand the words that are written based off of their own vested interests. So that's where all of this and that, I'm advocating Hawaiian American Peace Treaty to segue into a global peace treaty, and then Moksha Peace Treaty, self-governed personal responsibility of unalienable rights. So the one thing I'm looking around in, and it's probably really just America that has the freedom of speech, right? First Amendment, Second Amendment, those two. Gotta look around, because the places that, because of the dynamic requirements of such, if you will, right, to actually be, and the persons or anywhere that is going to try and do the job of what the UN is saying that they're doing would have to hold the space that I'm holding, right? They would have to. Otherwise, shut up and sit down. Right? Well, what is that? Not motivated for very much. I live on food donation, not for trade. Just support what I'm doing. Donation only, everything. In full, straight disclosure. And very few people can handle the burn of my mouth. I can't even say a few people. Can't even say that. I can't. Only Paramashiva and Parashakti, mother and father of the cosmos, can only handle the stuff coming out of my mouth and align to that level of integrity, right? Gets real hard. This, that happens, right? Life happens. Being a very active being in contributions to the community. Another thing I'm advocating for is a women's safe house and shelter. I also advocate for agriculture and livestock separation in law and policy. I would like the removal of murder, planned genocide, stop hiding behind the skirt of plants agriculture. So that needs to be separated. I'm tired of that. Preying upon it, and that's a narcissistic strategy. It's a strategy, right? To pile it all into food. No. No. Let's not. Please don't. Separate it. Right? Take responsibility for your DNA. So because I advocate for mothers to initiate third eye and Kundalini, for me, I do initiations. I don't initiate children because I expect the parents to. That's a honor and privilege that I do not take from parents. Now, there's infinite ways that third eye and Kundalini get initiated, including spontaneous, boom, there it happened, and whoa, what's going on? Right? Including that. I'm very inclusive, but for a plan, if you will, mothers should be doing it through umbilical cord initiation. When that is supported, taught, advocated, that is Satya Yuga. Until that happens to me, that ain't Satya Yuga. It's not. Because that's like that final piece. Right? Otherwise, just, yeah, no. But I also do advocate for gurus, right? Mother and father is first guru, but just like we go to specialists for whatever someone decides to be the master or specialist of, that's why, yes, I do initiate. This is a graphic that I give following up, as well as I got blessed. I got blessed with this process. It's a manual process of opening up not just your third eye and your Kundalini, but opening the Sahasrara. The Sahasrara chakra goes to sleep every night. You got to open it up every day. It's essentially what it is. It is what it is, right? I also was blessed with a mudra for continuous Kundalini rising, right? So you can do the mantra or you can do the mudra. But for me, I prefer silence, so no mantra, just mudra, right? So, and basically it's because of the soundless sound, going beyond sound, and the smallest sound is thought. So we're going into the silence, right? That vibrant silence, going beyond thought. Because if you have a thought, that's a pain pattern. So yes, I do initiate third eye and Kundalini. I do train basics, but because power manifestation has a lifestyle, if and when I'm still in the seeking side for, even within Hawaiian Kingdom, I have yet to find organized training for power manifestors, but I am very clear. Yes, I have been initiating Kanaka Maoli, and what happens is, because they are a power manifesting tradition, upon initiation it opens up powers that they don't have to earn. It's just there because of their lineage. It's in their DNA. It just starts opening up. And that's its own fun journey, right? I more or less look at myself as a sounding board, right? If something's going on, let me know. We'll go figure it out, right? Because my seeking and my blessing and what I'm here to do is different from everyone else, right? So with that understanding, I also encourage people to choose and live their culture because that's in their DNA, that's their meat suit. For those who are very serious about power manifestation, I do point to Swamiji because he does teach. On their Paramashivoham program or spiritual retreat, they do training. They also do initiation. Swamiji does initiations and trainings and such too. The 460 powers of Mahadeva. And the university and material and content available, it's there. Yeah. So, like, for me, I'm manifesting what I'm manifesting, and there is that infrastructure there. I will point there, right? Because why? Liberated, right? Even me living liberated for those, and pointing to people who want to take up those kind of responsibilities. He's the one saying, I want to be guru. I want to be Mahaparamashiva or Paramashiva. Okay, Tatastu here, right? For me, I'd just be a mother, raise kids, right? Rather do that. And that's the other thing I'm advocating for is motherhood, and for women to take back the pride and honor of raising kids, because nobody else can. Men can't. The companies that people work for can't. They're only there to kidnap mommies and kidnap babies, right? Let's really get down to what is human trafficking, right? Get back to family-centric societies, family businesses, right? That make up a community. And so in Paramashivoham, there is levels 1, 2, and 3, depending on the level that one is at. Because for us, or for Kailasa, it's about power manifestation. Are you manifesting powers? And based off of that, right? These are 21-day online retreats and education, as well as power manifestation. So today, level 1 got the initiation to Ananda Spurana, the 7 chakras. Level 2 got another higher initiation and understanding, because these are about because it's a full, it's because okay, so with power manifestation, your body and life does not function the same as others, and it requires that education. And so attending the full day is recommended to upgrade your decision-making matrix, right, from moment to moment to moment. So level 2 had a different upgraded 7 chakras initiation, and level 3 is completion with self, complete completion, self sampurnatva, cosmic linga energy installed, as well as astral travel, and to be able to see the self in all parallel lokas. There's 14 lokas, 14 dimensions, and that you are him and he is you. That's the oneness, the Advaita. So again, I do initiate. I should be doing more initiations. I have been initiating since 2018. I don't require any kind of lifestyle change. I only recommend to roll your breakfast, because you will upgrade your DNA just by eating the sparks of Mahadeva. What is rolling your food? It's moving your food. It's not blessed food. It's not like, oh, prayer. No, you literally electrocuted it because it moved with the sparks of life, the source of life that comes from. That's what I'm sharing, initiating, and whatnot. All this other stuff, this legal stuff, is some other things that I gotta do because of all this, that, right? Because if you are listening to the dynamic range of freedom that I am requiring, right? Yeah. So this is just the disclaimer. If you travel beyond this point, you will be responsible for cost of search and rescue. Personal responsibility code. For me personally, I call upon Mahaparameshiva. I recommend you also call upon who you call upon as God. I really like that cute little dog. He makes me smile. So, decolonize your mind, right? The school system. So let's take a look. The thing is a lot of people want that, because we are communal beings, right? Communal animals. That's what humans are. And large families are actually the real community, and then the next step is the neighborhood, and then the community, right? And then the world at large. But what the politicians or the lobbyists or whatever, or corporations essentially, are trying to replace that with a mob style pseudo family, where there's a meme going around with these men together, whatever, that is saying something like, don't know who the leader is. No, there's a hierarchical thug culture in that, right? As even if you want to be like, no, there's a big difference between how you're going to treat your kids and how you're going to treat your employees' kids. An employee is actually a modern word for slave, right? And then it's just like, oh no, they chose. No. If they had a choice and could have their own land, grow their own food, would they work there? No. That's why I'm saying redefine slavery. They had to show up, right? So like, I get it. Not everybody's gonna go to the extreme that I went to and just be like, right, figuring it out somehow. And the thing is, and it's because of the support and love of my family, and then friends who understand what I am doing, and the fact that I don't participate in money. I don't have a 501c3. I don't have a bank account. I don't do any of that, because why? Where my feet actually is. And being extreme pono, there's a lot of people talking a lot of stuff, but they're not going to that level of, no, full stop, cardiac arrest my life until this is getting straightened out, right? Very few people gonna go do that. I get it, it's a consciousness issue. I get it. So it is what it is. So with this system, right, posturing to indoctrinate family, to corporate creating hypocrisy and doing and being, so that because of this, people have blind spots, and they're not, and everybody is just right, moving their mouth with whatever that they're doing and saying. And then it comes down to this, right? For me, I understood that it was the elitist or supremacy or hierarchical thing, but coming up against learning about Zionism, still not fully there yet on that, but that's what I'm seeing. And it's because of the banks. the banking strategies. So going into what it is that we're dealing with is those who came to colonize, right? They used the bait and switch strategy of treaties with the Native Americans as well as Hawaii Kingdom until it gets reversed, right? When it gets restored, then it's not bait and switch. It's like, oh, the war, right? So it's the those who are coming here are running away from their narcissistic abuser, or else why would the Boston Tea Party happen, right? And then at the Boston Tea Party, they were dressed as Native Americans, right? So like, I never really cared for history, but, and then not that I even care about it too much now. In all honesty, it's just like, no, let's change the narrative. Let's change what we're teaching. Let's change what conflict resolution as a basic education, right? All of this one dharma stuff needs to just stop, right? Now, how do you know that the Britain is still winning? It's because the legal system, right? You gotta take the bar, British accredited Regency. That means pledge allegiance to Britain. They're in charge of the credit scores for American through the IRS and the Federal Reserve. Because the Federal Reserve is a private bank. Bank to who? Right? And then because of all of that, it becomes a slave process with their birth certificates and stuff. And then, because of the Federal Reserve, the government gets blank checks, right? Which they call bonds. But in actuality, the original thing is they needed to do bonds, which are like GoFundMes, right? That ensured that government stayed small. And everybody's just like, oh, they should do the GoFundMe. Yeah, they were supposed to. Right? And until everybody wakes up and just being like, no. You get back into your corner where you're supposed to. You overstepped your boundaries, right? And then a lot of people talk about freedom, but the fundamental largest freedom is spiritual freedom, and it's the earth peoples, which are the true land of the free, right? Where it was respected consciousness and what they spiritually believed in. Not this consciousness monocropping, bringing their narcissistic abusers set up, and then because they haven't healed from that, and it's in their DNA. They don't even know where it's coming from. So one of the ways we can get back to family-centric societies is handmade gifts, digital gifts, regifting, secondhand gifts, consumable gifts, experience gifts, and small business gifts. Let's normalize it. How much revenue did Costco or Walmart or Target have for all of these gifts when it's better to just make your own, right? And then why you shouldn't even be going into debt to prove somebody that you love them. No, that's not right. So with Kailasa, right, I'm celebrating, but this is where for me I'm picking this apart because there's all of this posture, and we're talking thousands of years of this, right? Thousands of years of this. But let me read through their official posting. Quote: the juridical statehood of the United States of Kailasa. The United Nations upholds Kailasa's privileges while recognizing Kailasa's inherited, unbroken historical sovereign status as per the preamble of both the UN Convention on Diplomatic Relations and the UN Convention on Consular Relations, that declares that historical rules of customary international law continues to govern and confirms that all nations from ancient times have recognized privileges and immunities of sovereign entities of differing constitutional and social systems, preamble, and requires that a state shall not discriminate as between states, including a historical form of statehood, Article 47.1. Kailasa is a sovereign subject of international law possessing distinctive attributes of judicial statehood derived from its inheritance of the unbroken succession and the revival of three ancient Hindu sovereign states, namely the kingdom of Surya Vamsa, Surangi, Samraja, Sarvanyapitam, Sarvanyapita, Swargapura, Samraja, Sarvanyapitam, Shamalapita, Sarvanyapitam, also the Kanchi Kailasa, Sarvanyapitam, and 17 sovereign Hindu ecclesiastical historical institutions that receive customary recognition by the United Nations as per the Vienna Convention on Diplomatic Relations and the Vienna Convention on Consular Relations. Further, in international law, the doctrine of continuity states that upheavals and revolutions within a country, changes in governmental forms and extent of a country's territory, and measures taken during a military occupation do not negate the existence of the country. Therefore, just as many other states under international law, Kailasa shall be afforded its due diplomatic recognition, privileges, and immunities. And that's cool. Blessings to Tastu. But for me, personally, what am I asking for? No. With all of this use and abuse of women and children, I am saying no. I want to be able to have my own country because all of it is corporations run through trusts and all of that. And all of that structure has been existing for a very long time. And it should simply be just like how we apply for a business in any one country. Should be that way. And based off of what I'm saying, should simply have our own currency, right? With finite, right? Hours. How many hours per day, right? 1 for hour trade. I am so done with all of this silly conversations of who knows what, and it's total disrespect and dishonoring others at a fundamental level. Now, I'm not against Kailasa, Tatastu to Kailasa, Tatastu to Swamiji, blessings, wish the best, but that's not my subjective truth. And it gets very hard, like I'm saying. Nobody can handle my mouth when I'm getting like for real. I'm polite, but it gets very interesting for me. So here is proof of his coronation photos for 2 of them. He's got like a total of like 21 or something like that. Crowning for different Sarvanyapitas or traditions or sampradayas. Or I'm honestly, in all honesty, not very clear about what that is. But that's proof. As well as he has also, because of the extent of fight that happened and the atrocities done to him and the Hindus, and him being attacked specifically because he is initiating Third Eye Kundalini, training people. Parama Shivoham is a free program. You just have to sign up and attend and go through the different levels. And we're talking about the 460 powers of Mahadeva. And so for a very, very long time, I think over 13 years of global media, corporate gang bullying on him. Finally, after that, and legalities and this and that, what is that? The different websites saying Kailasa is fake. Kailasa is not fake. Kailasa is real. These are real results. And so all of these different major corporate media houses erased their content, the content, even down to the fake videos that was showing from rape, because there's people claiming rape or whatever, and then being used. Ma Nityananda Mai was being used as a weapon because she decided to become a sannyasi and not be an actress anymore, so they turned her into a weapon, and different kinds of narratives and fake stories. But Kailasa is real. So on a similar note, how I found Dr. Shiva is because I saw his swarm video, and then I saw his videos on the how he found social media and governmental policies in this huge, elaborate, what do you call this? Fundamentally, it's basically to take away freedom of speech, right? The First Amendment, which even for me, my videos and my content or whatever are getting deleted. Now, what I find interesting is the extent of the sophistication of even basic, not basic, I wouldn't say basic, but for video editing AI available, and even down to that, the AI can, I've seen it even monitoring what you can say. I'm sure they screen it with keywords or however way they have it. It's all just computerized. So this is an example of how these two people are on heads of boards all over the place, right? I did it that way to show how yeah, because if presented this way, you can't really tell. You can say and whatever, but highlighting them with just, yeah, it's just bullying, straight bullying, and that hindered his Dr. Shiva's president, or he was running for Senate when that happened, and that kind of killed it for him because they pulled him off Twitter, and then that's how he ended up finding out all about all of that and won the lawsuit. So he has what is called truthfreedomhealth.com, and he's offering a systems education for warrior scholars to help build a bottoms-up community-based movement for Americans. Because of the has been supportive of my very unorthodox educational choices by choosing to sit with masters or mentors or gurus, if you will, of different spectrums, from whether it be real estate, commercial real estate investing, or business acquisitions, negotiations, and that kind of things. All of those, even down to farming and ancient methods, all of that, learning from those masters is worth more than going to the universities. And I know the universities try their best to attract and retain, but it's their corporate structure. Nobody wants that. So, you know, I'm blessed to again, by my mom, to be able to take this courses that he's offering, and it's very intense. But you know, right, it's better to get training or direct training from someone who is intense. But he He's the inventor of email and a MIT PhD graduate. The course that he's offering was the things that he was teaching at MIT. And so to get that knowledge, it is a blessing, and that's what he's contributing to Americans, or those, or internationally too, it doesn't matter, to understand systems. I agree with that, because to recognize what he calls the swarm. What is the swarm? This is just one little aspect of what he calls the swarm, right? That's what we're dealing with. So what are we dealing with globally? Globally, we're dealing with, this is part of that swarm. Vanguard, BlackRock, and State Street, and all the companies that they have. That's why I'm saying, you look at what you're buying. What are you supporting? What are you giving money to? Right? Just stop. Like, serious. Just stop. So those, because of, I'm talking about thousands of years of the same thing. Supremists, right? Creating hierarchical structures that don't allow people to be able to self-actualize. And it's the same mental setup and constructs the colonizers, the British did this to the Hindus, and as well as the Hawaiians and the Native Americans. That's why it's a mental setup. They did the same things, from doing wrong translations on purpose, creating atrocity material, doing intellectual theft, and then taking that, like, where do you think Big Pharma gets their stuff from? It's from the ancient stuff, and then they call the ancient methods as alternative medicine, when it's actual real medicine. And then how they do it, how they get their foot in the door, is they use the treaties. That's why I'm saying it's a bait and switch strategy, just to get the foot in the door. That's their strategy. And then they're like, oh, okay, we can come here. And then they just come with their guns and kill everybody and take everything. That's not consent. But in their mind, because their brain is structured, and it's been, to me, labeled as narcissism, right? That's what it is. That's what we're dealing with. So what is in your DNA? Do you exhibit that? And the thing is yeah, you gotta detox not just your physical body, but your mental self too. Question the very you. To what levels of subtle violence are you exhibiting or retaining or whatnot? And so there's a lot of people, and the whole Zionism and this and that, based off of my understanding and looking at this stuff and piecing together, I do agree that it's a banker's strategy, because they input it into all the cultures just to stir the pot and keep people divided, instead of being focused on who we paying rent to, why we gotta pay rent. You gotta look at that. And then those enforcement hierarchical structures for that, yeah. So basically it's saying, you're telling me you believe Hebrews are entitled to the land of Israel because their ancestors once lived there, right? For me, I don't even question that. If you feel that that needs to be done, you drop your life and you go drop yourself and go over there. Don't be imposing on everybody to have to pay taxes for your vested interest that has nothing to do with where we actually live individually. So is it intelligent to go into college debt slavery, to pledge allegiance to the bar, British accredited regency, Britain, to practice American law if you're on the continental U.S. In Hawaii Kingdom, that's an official war zone in American occupation. It's a legit question, right? It gets very challenging for me to look at all of this and going continuously to sit in this stuff, and whether people are aware of it or not, I keep questioning, are you really aware? Legit questions. Only you can stop wars. So the Lego company, they have what is called a replay. So you can pass forward your loved Legos to other children. I thought that was very cool of the Lego company. So, treaties are contracts, broken treaties are broken contracts. Contracts meaning everything. Birth certificates, real estate, TMK, business, lawsuits, credit cards, banks, bank loans, W-2s, 1099, etc. Everything. All of that is contracts. Right? They're not being that transparent with you. Occupation is war. A maritime admiralty law. Laws of war apply to all nations associated with the UN. Force majeure is a legal claim. All contracts null and void in natural disasters, acts of God, or occupation. Yeah, the UN, they are threatening, oh, World War III, whatever. No. Force majeure all the way. All of that. Right? All of that. It doesn't matter. Anybody can claim force majeure, even in Hawaii. In Hawaii, if you're going to use that as your legitimate legal strategy, it comes with the responsibilities to ensure that you bring your nation's immigration and consulate and embassy, like any other proper conduct, right? So, because the WHO, World Health Organization, saying and threatening with the pandemic treaty, which legitimizes my conclusions that a global peace treaty is actual and factual humanitarian law with applicable remedy for full stop. So they can say all this and that and just be like, no, let's opt out. What is force majeure? Force majeure is a legal claim. And all of that is about commerce, right? Is a provision. Force majeure is a provision in a contract that frees both parties from obligation in an extraordinary event, directly prevents one or both parties from performing, and a non-performing party may use a force majeure clause as an excuse for non-performance for circumstances beyond the party's control and not due to any fault or negligence by the non-performing party. However, mere impracticality or unparticipated difficulty is not. Global peace treaty is actual and factual humanitarian law, not this book written by this guy. Some book written by some guy. So what I also find interesting is that in the laws of war, why is it that in the laws of war, the attacker or the occupier must administer the military government, right? Wouldn't that motivate people to go and attack places? It's a legit question. It's that mental setup that keeps coming, right? Because of Article 37, that's martial law. The Queen, Decolonize, put Hawaii Kingdom in martial law. That's why it's as peaceful as it is. She direct order not to pick up arms. The U.S. has to declare martial law, so that's part of the responsibilities if you're going to use force majeure. U.S. Please see your Navy JAG officer, military attorney requesting an immigration consulate embassy. So, in the laws of war, acquisition of a country through the occupier attacker's Congress is not a legal option. There is no treaty of annexation. So, on January 17th, 2021, Colonel Lilicoy and Lieutenant JAG Officer Beaumont of the U.S. Navy signed a declaration state of war. It's not declaring war, it's basically confirming we still fighting. Yeah, we still fighting. That's essentially what it is, what that is. In the lawsuit that Colonel Lilicoy had, shoots, I forgot the date of it. The U.S. or state of Hawaii included this memorandum by the UN, the UN's official statement, stating strange form of occupation. Now, because the wording of this is very, very fishy to me, because when was this? This is in 2018. It wasn't stated, right? Occupation is war, and here's the laws of war. That was not said or shared, right? Even that history I kind of want to look at, but you know, that's just another rabbit hole. Too many rabbit holes. Too many rabbit holes. So, since the United Nations inception, World War III has been actively going on because it is being refereed. Yeah. Refereed by the UN itself. Typo. Spell check. Laws are spells casted. Words with guns. If commerce is happening, that means there's a treaty. Treaties are going on. Treaties are there. Treaties are laws. Treaties are contracts. So force majeure. Other clarification, because I'm not taking sides. Not taking sides. Is a military tribunal. In general, anyone who is subject to military law can be tried in a military tribunal. It includes members of the armed forces, enemy combatants, civilians working for the military. Because it's basically military law, which has a different set of rules. You could say it's like another country. And all these countries are trusts anyway, and it's just paperwork, and that's just another paperwork country, essentially. That's why I'm like, well, if everything's just paperwork, why can't everybody have their own country and be sovereign, right? Self-governed sovereigns. So when someone can prove their genealogy and their unbroken whatnot, the UN will recognize those sovereigns. That's why the battle on land reclamation in Hawaii Kingdom is as interesting as it is. Because this is legit, right? Same as how Kailasa was able to win whatnot. Hawaii Kingdom also is right on the right track. The commitment needs to be there. And then when that happens, because each land is a case-by-case issue, and it goes back to the heirs. So if you're a TMK title holder, you must go and look for who the Hawaii Kingdom title holder is, and then it's a case-by-case issue if they're going to allow you to stay or not. And because of the situationship I find myself in, and my peer group is those who are spiritual, religious, peace, humanitarian, NGO organizations, grandmothers and mothers is my peer group. Yeah, give back stolen land. If you have blood title, you gotta give it back. Right? That's the pono, or the right thing to do. And then when it comes to the whole Hawaii kingdom and the infighting that's going on with all of that, I think everybody who's Kanaka Maoli should sign that treaty, because everybody did their part. It's 130 years of Heva, and everybody and their family has done the best they can, and so I think everybody should. It's just a suggestion as a third-party witness to inspire teamwork. So, sorry, D12. I was going to do power manifestation. But, yeah, I'll just do some power manifestation. If you have an orange or an apple or round fruit, coconut, please get that. What I'm going to do is place it on your palm flat, as like you see here as an example. Put your Ishtadeva Ta'amakua, Creator God, in your third eye visualization prayer. Wish in your prayer, wish in your heart. Place it on your flat palm. And just sit in restful awareness.
As Paramashiva,
I am a primary care physician. I'm frustrated, and this is not what I signed up for.
Your fears, incompletions, insecurities, nothing is needed for you to exist. Paramashiva alone is enough for you to live absolutely, blissfully, celebrating, fulfilled, complete, intensely. Paramashiva. Microcosm. Let the microcosm we carry become one with macrocosm of Paramashiva. Let our organism become one with Paramashiva's organism. Let Paramashiva's organism become one with our organism. Let oneness become living strategy, living experience of all of us. Amda Mahavadra with intensely. Nityananda Paramashivoham. Om Nityananda Paramashivoham. Om Nityananda Paramashivoham.
Thank you. Have a good evening. Aloha Nityanandam.